The alert blared through the deep space monitoring station like a klaxon of doom. Lieutenant 𝗕𝗲 jerked awake, her boots hitting the deck before her brain fully registered the emergency. The screen in front of her pulsed with a crimson warning. **FTL signature detected ***. Another false alarm, she muttered, rubbing her eyes. The last 3 had been sensor ghosts, echoes from pulsars or rogue comets. But this one had a registration tag. Her breath caught. UNSS Odyssey. That's impossible, said Tech Officer 𝗕𝗲 beside her, his voice tight. The Odyssey disappeared 3 centuries ago. First human ship to attempt an Alpha Centauri jump. It never came back. Kara's fingers flew over the console, pulling up archival data. The signature matched perfectly, engine resonance, hull composition, even the old fission-fusion hybrid drive. But the Odyssey should be dust. "Commander," she snapped into the comms, "we've got a situation." By the time the salvage team reached the derelict, the station was on full lockdown. No transmissions out, no unauthorized personnel in. The Odyssey hung in the void, its hull gleaming under their spotlights like it had just rolled out of dry dock. No scorch marks. No micrometeorite pockmarks. Nothing to suggest 300 years of interstellar drift. Life signs. Commander Hale's voice crackled in their helmets. "Negative," replied Sergeant Cho. "No heat signatures, no movement. Just power. The ship's still running." Kara swallowed hard. That shouldn't be possible. Even if the crew had survived, even if they'd found some way to endure, ***, no ship stays operational for centuries without maintenance ***. The airlock hissed open. Inside, the corridors were pristine. No dust, no decay. The lights hummed softly, as if waiting. They found the bridge empty. The captain's chair sat untouched, a half-drunk cup of coffee still resting in the holder, ***, cold, but liquid ***. Then they found the black cube. It sat in the center of engineering, humming softly, suspended in a cradle of glowing filaments. The air around it shimmered, like heat distortion, except the temperature readings were dead normal. 𝗕𝗲 reached for his scanner. The moment the beam touched the cube, the device flared to life, patterns of light cascading across its surface, ***, too fast to be random ***. Then the countdown started. Numbers flickered in the air above it, symbols none of them recognized but instinctively understood. 00:05:00. 5 minutes. To what? Kara's hand hovered over her comm. "Commander, we've got a problem." The cube pulsed, and the Odyssey's engines roared back to life. The cube didn't obey physics. Dr. Elias Carter had seen impossible things in his career. Warp bubbles, quantum entanglement communicators, even a prototype singularity drive. But this was different. The readings made no sense. Energy output fluctuated between 0 and infinity. Mass shifted without cause. It emitted no heat, no radiation, yet the air around it warped like a gravitational lens. "Like it's deciding which laws to follow," he muttered. His team didn't laugh. They'd moved the cube to a secure lab, rigged with every sensor the station had. The first test was simple: activate it at minimum power. The moment the pulse hit it, the cube changed. Not in shape. In reality. A pen on Carter's desk phased through the surface, embedding itself halfway in the metal. Private 𝗕𝗲 yelped as his boot sank into the floor like it was liquid. Then the containment field failed. Alarms shrieked. The cube's hum became a scream. Carter barely hit the emergency cutoff before the distortion reached the outer walls. Silence. 𝗕𝗲 pulled his foot free, unharmed. The pen clattered to the ground. The cube sat inert. Carter's hands shook. That wasn't energy. That was localized reality failure. The station's commander wanted answers. Carter had none. Only theories. "It's not a power source. It's a key." He pulled up the distorted logs from the Odyssey. "The crew found this. Stole it, maybe. Look at the last transmission." The audio crackled. A voice, ancient, terrified. "They're coming. We stole it. Don't let them. Static." Carter replayed it. "Who's they?" The answer came from deep space scans. Anomalies. 6 of them. Massive, angular, moving in perfect formation. No engine signatures. No heat trails. Just void where stars should be. And they were on an intercept course. Military command took over. The cube was classified. The Odyssey was quarantined. Carter argued, this wasn't just some alien artifact. It was proof. Proof that someone out there had mastered physics like humans mastered fire. And they wanted it back. He ran one last test. No sensors this time. No safety protocols. Just Carter, the cube, and a single question. What are you? He touched it. The cube reacted. Light blazed. His vision swam. For a heartbeat, he saw. ***, a network of black cubes, spanning galaxies ****. ****, a war, ancient and endless ****. ****, a warning ****. Then pain. He woke on the floor, nose bleeding, the cube dark. His tablet beside him showed new data. A signal. Not from the cube. From the anomalies. They'd just accelerated. The 𝗕𝗲𝘀 warships didn't decloak so much as unravel into existence, their crystalline hulls swallowing starlight. Command had 12 minutes from first detection to impact. 12 minutes to decide how humanity would meet its first contact with a species that clearly considered physics optional. Admiral Singh's voice cut through the panic on the command channel. All stations, condition 0. Assume hostile intent. They weren't wrong. The lead vessel fired without hailing. No energy weapon. No projectile. Space itself twisted like wet canvas, shearing the comm satellite in half. The transmission died mid-scream. Carter watched from the lab, the cube's latest readings burning in his retinas. They're not just using the tech. They're part of it. The second attack proved it. A Marine frigate returned fire, railguns at full charge. The rounds hit dead center, and kept going, punching through the alien hull without resistance. Then the 𝗕𝗲𝘀 ship rippled, reality stitching itself back together around the wounds. 𝗦𝗰𝗶 spat blood from split lips where the cube's backlash had thrown him. So we can't hurt them. Fantastic. Carter's fingers flew over the console. Not true. Watch the energy spikes. Every time the aliens healed, the cube in their lab pulsed in sync. They're linked. All of them. Break one, you break. The station shook. A view screen shattered. Someone was shouting about hull breaches. Singh made the call. Get me a warhead. Biggest we've got. Engineer Vasquez jury-rigged the connection in 3 minutes flat. The cube thrummed against the nuke's casing, its light patterns accelerating. Carter didn't need the scanners to know what was coming. You understand this could rip space-time in half, he shouted over the alarms. Vasquez didn't look up from her welder. You got a better idea. They launched at T-90 seconds to 𝗕𝗲𝘀 weapons lock. The missile streaked away, its payload singing in a frequency no human ear could hear. The aliens didn't evade. Why would they? To them, this was like ants throwing pebbles at a tank. Until the cube-activated warhead hit. Reality screamed. The explosion didn't propagate through space so much as erase it, a perfect sphere of nothingness swallowing the lead 𝗕𝗲𝘀 vessel. The remaining 5 ships recoiled, the first human reaction they'd shown. On the lab monitors, the cube flared white-hot. Gwyn whooped. Hell yes. That's one down. Carter watched the sensors. Watched the way the void where the ship had been pulsed. No. It's not dead. The singularity collapsed. And something came back out. The thing that crawled out of the dead 𝗕𝗲𝘀 ship wasn't a ship anymore. It wasn't even matter. It unfolded in jagged dimensions, a nightmare of angles that stabbed at human eyes. Every sensor on the station overloaded at once. God, it's rewriting local physics, Carter whispered. The cube in the lab was screaming now, its light patterns bleeding into ultraviolet. Admiral Singh's voice came through gritted teeth. New target. Fire everything. It didn't work. Missiles passed through the entity like smoke. Lasers bent away. The thing pulsed once, and 3 more human ships came apart at the molecular level, their crews turned to screaming mist. Vasquez grabbed Carter's arm. The cube's not a weapon. It's a leash. And we just cut it. The remaining 𝗦𝗫𝘀 ships were retreating. Not from humanity. From their own unleashed creation. 𝗦𝗁 limped to the console, blood dripping from his nose. So how do we kill God? Carter stared at the cube. At the patterns. At the secret buried in its light. Wrong question, he said. He reached in bare-handed. The pain was beyond anything. Carter felt his bones trying to exist in 6 places at once. But he held on. The cube showed him. A network spanning galaxies. Ancient wars against things that gnawed at reality. The 𝗦𝗫𝘀 weren't masters. They were thieves. Just like humans. And now the thing they'd caged was free. Vasquez understood first. It wants to go home. The entity was growing. Eating stars now. The station's hull groaned as space-time itself stretched thin. Singh gave the order. All remaining ships, form a perimeter. Buy them time. It was suicide. They knew it. Did it anyway. Carter and Vasquez worked in screaming silence. Rewiring the cube. Feeding it power. Letting it remember what it truly was. The entity turned. The cube flared. For one infinite moment, Carter saw the universe as it really was, a fragile skin over something vast and hungry. Then the cube activated. Not an explosion. An unraveling. The entity shrieked in dimensions no human could perceive as the cube's light wrapped around it, folded it, erased it. The 𝗦𝗫𝘀 ships vanished. Not retreating. Gone. The cube went dark. Silence. The station was half melted. Most of the fleet was debris. But Earth still turned. 𝗦𝗁 found Carter in the wreckage of the lab, clutching the dead cube. We won. Carter looked at the stars. At the new void where the entity had been. No, he said. We survived. Far away, in the dark between galaxies, something answered the cube's last signal. The silence after the storm was worse than the battle. Carter's hands shook as he ran diagnostics on the dead cube. Scorched circuits. Empty power readings. Whatever energy had fueled it was gone, spent in that final, reality-rending pulse. Yet when he pressed his palm against its surface, the metal was still warm. Like something sleeping. 𝗦𝗁 limped into the lab, his left arm in a sling. Command wants answers. They'll get theories, Carter said. He pulled up the last sensor logs. The entity wasn't destroyed. Contained, maybe. Sent somewhere else. Where? Carter zoomed the display. A single anomaly lingered at the edge of the system, a perfect sphere of distorted space. No radiation. No mass. Just wrongness. Prison, Vasquez said from the doorway. She held a datapad with fresh calculations. The cube built a cage. But look at the energy decay. The numbers were clear. The barrier would last 6 months. Maybe. 𝗦𝗁 laughed, sharp and brittle. So we get to choose. Die now or die later. A chime interrupted. Deep-range scanners had picked up something new. Not the 𝗦𝗫𝘀. Not the entity. A signal. Human. The transmission was old. Ancient, even. Scrambled frequencies layered over each other like a scream trapped in a hall of mirrors. Carter filtered the noise for hours before the words emerged. Anyone receiving, 𝗦𝗦𝐷𝐶𝐸 actual, do not trust the cubes, repeat, do not. Static swallowed the rest. Vasquez froze the playback. That's impossible. The 𝗦𝗫𝐷𝐶𝐸's logs were wiped clean. Not wiped, Carter said. Edited. He pulled up the original files. Buried under layers of corruption, a pattern emerged, deliberate erasures. Someone had tried to hide something. 𝗦𝗁 leaned in. What the hell were they carrying? The cube chose that moment to reactivate. Not fully. A flicker. A single symbol burning in the air above it. Theta. Then darkness. Singh assembled what remained of Earth's fleet. 3 ships. Barely space-worthy. It's a trap, she said, staring at the coordinates the signal had carried. A dead system. No planets. Just rubble. Carter strapped the cube into a containment crate. Or a warning. They jumped. The wreckage waiting for them wasn't 𝗦𝗫𝘀. Human. Dozens of ships, their hulls fused together in impossible geometries. Some predated the Odyssey. Some hadn't been built yet. All bore the same symbol carved into their plating. Theta. Vasquez's voice was hollow. "We've done this before." The cube hummed in its crate. Agreeing. The wreckage field pulsed with residual energy. Carter's spacesuit sensors screamed warnings as they approached the tangled ships, radiation spikes, temporal distortions, pockets where matter flickered in and out of existence. "That symbol," Gwyn said, pointing to a particularly large theta carved across a derelict's hull. "It's not a marking. It's a scar." Vasquez adjusted her scanner. "From what?" The cube answered before Carter could. Its containment crate vibrated violently, the same symbol burning through the metal. The ships around them began to glow in unison, their fused hulls humming the same dissonant chord. Then the visions started. Carter saw 100 Earths, each with their own Odyssey, their own cube. The same war, fought across millennia with different faces. The Theta entity, older than stars, feeding on civilizations that reached too far. Gwyn collapsed first, blood trickling from his ears. "It's a test," he gasped. "We keep failing." The cube's light intensified. "Not attacking. Communicating." Vasquez understood first. "Not a test. A vaccine." Singh's voice crackled over comms. "Explain." "No." Carter wiped his nosebleed. "The 𝗦𝗫𝗀𝗃 weren't the first. Won't be the last. The cube isn't tech, it's a warning system. The Theta entity targets species that discover certain truths. The cube prepares us. By nearly killing us. By showing us how to survive." The derelict ships began dissolving, their atoms unraveling into light. The cube pulsed faster. Gwyn grabbed Carter's arm. "It's giving us a choice. Take the knowledge and run, or stay and fight." Vasquez checked her sidearm. "We always fight." The cube flared white. Reality bent. For a single, infinite moment, Carter existed in all versions of the conflict at once. He saw the first humans who encountered Theta, dying to buy time. The 𝗦𝗫𝗃 at their peak, arrogant with stolen power. A future Earth burning as Theta consumed it. Then focus. The cube's final gift. Coordinates. Not to a weapon. To a graveyard. The birthplace of the cubes. The tomb of whoever made them. Singh's ships were already moving. "How long do we have?" The cube's light dimmed. The wreckage field collapsed into a singularity behind them. Carter checked the countdown. Long enough to finish what they started. The coordinates led to dead space. No stars. No planets. Just an obsidian monolith floating in the void, large enough to eclipse galaxies. Carter's hands shook as the scanners failed to measure it. The sensors claimed it didn't exist while their eyes reported a structure so vast it distorted perspective. "Ancient doesn't begin to cover it," Vasquez whispered. The cube, now little more than a dimly glowing husk, flared once. The monolith responded. A seam appeared, splitting open like a wound. Inside, absolute darkness. Singh's voice crackled through the comm. "That's not an invitation. That's a mouth." But the cube was already moving, dragging their ship toward the opening. No engines could resist. The darkness had texture. Carter pressed against the viewport as the ship was swallowed. The blackness outside wasn't empty. It was layered, folded, compressed. He glimpsed fractured timelines branching like lightning. Other ships from other Earths trapped in the folds. Something massive moving in the deeper dark. Then their gravity failed. Gwyn grabbed a console as the ship tilted. "We're not flying. We're falling." The cube pulsed faster. Not warning. Counting down. They crashed into light. A chamber stretched before them, impossibly large. The walls were lined with cubes, thousands of them, some shattered, some pulsing weakly. At the center floated a single intact specimen, radiating the same symbol. Theta. Vasquez's breath fogged her visor. Not a prison. An archive. Carter approached the central cube. Unlike theirs, this one was pristine. When he touched it, the visions came harder. A civilization that built the cubes as gifts. Their mistake in creating something that could cage Theta. The inevitable. Every species that found the cubes eventually woke the entity. The message was clear. Some doors shouldn't be opened. The ship shuddered. The monolith was collapsing. Gwyn checked the scanners. Theta-S found us. It's tearing through the outer layers. Singh started the engines. Time to go. Carter didn't move. He stared at the central cube. At their own dying one. At the solution screaming in his skull. Not yet. He grabbed both cubes. And smashed them together. The explosion wasn't light or sound. It was understanding. The monolith shattered. Theta screamed. The archive of cubes dissolved into sparks. On the ship's dying view screen, Carter saw Theta unraveling across dimensions. The cycle breaking. And something older watching from the void. Their cube was dust now. The central cube was gone. But in Carter's palm, a new symbol burned. Omega. The final letter. The end.